Inside Michigan football, I'm now joined by the quarterback coach here at the University of Michigan and offensive coordinator, Matt Weiss. Matt, thanks for joining us. You're 9 games in now, 9-0. You're calling plays. How has it been for you to be in that new position?
Yeah, John, thanks for having me on the show. It's been a great experience. I think just like we tell the players, we want to be a better team in week 2 than we were in week 1, and in week 4 than we were in week 3. And we take the same approach as coaches. I want to be a better play caller this week than I was last week. And for sure, anytime you're in a new role like that, it's an opportunity to learn and grow. So I think so far things have gone smoothly. Certainly the results have been good. Are there plays that we'd like to have back, things that we could do better? Absolutely. And we're just focused every week. Every night in the office, even driving home, whatever it is, that's what you think about. How can we be better? And play calling's no different. Want to be the best that I can be.
How do you manage the emotions? I was talking to Sharon Moore a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned the fact that you don't want to be an emotional play caller. When you either make a great play call or one that you'd rather have back, how do you put it behind you and move on to, hey, if it's 2nd and 15, this is what we've got to do, and take the emotions out of it?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's a strength for me. I'm not a very emotional roller coaster type of guy. I'd like to stay neutral, so that really helps me. I think being in the box also helps me. I think that's an underrated aspect of calling plays. You get in the box, it's a very sterile, almost clinical type of environment. It's quiet, it's temperature controlled. You have all your papers in front of you. You can kind of just sit there and think and get an opportunity to think things through and not let emotion get the best of you. I also think having Sharon as a co-play caller gives us both an opportunity to really think stuff through, where you don't have the pressure on you at all times. When you're not calling plays, you get a chance to watch and to think and to see things from a big picture, kind of see the forest through the trees. That maybe other guys don't get the opportunity to do when they have to call plays every single play.
How have you been able to develop that relationship, but maybe more importantly, obviously you got to have that relationship, but then it leads to the communication in terms of, the next play call, because there is a play clock, things are going quick, and it's not unlimited. So how have you guys been able to manage that ability to, hey, what do you want here? What do we got here? Here's what we're going with.
So I think that's one area we've been really strong. We work really well together. We complement each other really well. For sure, like you said, the only bad call is a late call. When I was coaching at the Ravens, the defensive players used to say that all the time. They still say it. So I just keep that in mind, that, you got to get the plays in fast so the players have time to line up and think and do their job. Because if we're all wrong, we're all right. As long as everybody's on the same page, running the same play, it's all good. But in terms of the relationship with Sharon, I couldn't think of a better person to be partnered with. Just in terms of our skill sets are very complementary. He's an unbelievable leader. He's an unbelievable, obviously offensive line coach, but coach in general. Big picture scheme, run game, pass game. There's really nothing that he can't do, and he's helped me in every single area. So I just feel blessed to have the opportunity to coach with him. There's nobody I'd rather be doing this with than Sharon.
A lot of people, and I went through this with Coach Gaddis last year, and obviously you were a part of it. You know what the storylines are, but when you look and you say, okay, well, you've got a player like Blake Corum who's running the hell out of the ball, an offensive line that's blocking well. You've got Donovan Edwards, and so much of the focus has been on the run game. Is there any concern that you guys haven't aired it out enough?
Yes, certainly for us, we know that the identity here and the personnel that we have is conducive to running the football, right? And that's what we want to be, and that's who we are. And it's an all-weather conference. You got to be able to run the ball late in the year, and so that's how we built the team. That's how we built the offense, and we make no apologies for the fact that's what we do. Now that being said, yeah, we want to be good at everything, and there's so many things you can do off the run game, whether it's play action, whether it's movements. And those are certainly areas we've been very efficient, had a lot of success. Like to still keep building. We like to see us connect on some of those shots down the field. But again, we have an unbelievable foundation for a young quarterback who's going to be a superstar, where we've built a foundation. We don't turn the ball over. He's very efficient. He goes through reads. He makes checks. We're just really excited about JJ and about the future and about where the offense is. And with that run game, it's just an unbelievable foundation to be able to win games, but also be able to build everything else off that.
I want to talk a little bit more about that superstar that you're mentioning, JJ McCarthy, and his development, but I want to go back to, like, during the week. I know that you guys have a great resource in Jim Harbaugh. He's seen a lot of football. He's played a lot of football. You've been around a lot of football. Same with Sharon. Same with Mike Hart. I mean, you go right down the list. And how collaborative and how fortunate do you feel having the resources that you have to be able to put together a game plan?
Yes, like I said, extremely blessed to be with Sharon. Extremely blessed to have the coaching staff we have with Mike Hart and Grant Newsome, Ron Bellamy, and all the other guys who are here too. So our analysts are some of our smartest coaches as well. And then obviously you mentioned Jim. I mean, his football knowledge is just unsurpassed. I mean, it's all he's done his whole life. He played till he couldn't play anymore. Now he's going to coach till he can't coach anymore. And so his level of knowledge and experience is just unparalleled. And he really is just an amazing coach. I mean, I think about when I was with him, 15 years ago or whatever it was at Stanford. He was a great coach. You could see it then, right? And we had a lot of success. But coming back now and seeing him 15 years later, it's almost like he's like a grand master of whether it's running the team and how he handles the team and the mentality and the mindset and the culture, right? Or even specifically with the offense, right, where he sees something before it's a problem and helps us fix it, or if it's just an idea that he has for a play, that's really usually pretty good. So, we're blessed we're set up for success with the guys we have here.
I know coming from Baltimore, there was a part of what they do there in terms of analytics and how it can help you, whether it's making decisions in game, but also in preparing a game plan. How do you take all of that information and all of the input from the staff, from Coach Harbaugh, from Sharon, and how do you guys pare it down so that you don't have information overload come Saturday?
It's just analytics, just another tool, like any information that we get. It's no different than if Ron Bellamy says, "Hey, this quarter's playing really heavy inside leverage, and I think we could throw a go ball on them." That's a piece of information that you then look at and assess based on other factors and decide to use it or not use it. And all that information is great, but ultimately that's all it is. It's just a data point.
When we come back in just a moment, I do want to talk a little bit more about the individuals in that room, as well as the superstar that you referenced, JJ McCarthy, off to a great start in his career as a starter. We'll be back in just a few moments. This is Inside Michigan Football from Learfield. Welcome back to Inside Michigan Football. Continue to be joined by Matt Weiss, offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. And I do want to get into more specifics about JJ McCarthy. Now that he's had, we're 9 games in, he's had 8 starts. Where have you seen him grow the most?
He's grown in so many ways. I think his poise is at a really elite level. He stays neutral, just like we talk about. Never too high, never too low. Great example for the guys on the field. I think that his ability to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, to use a poker reference, has gotten improved tremendously. Where you can see him scrambling for first downs. You can see him at the end of those plays getting down and protecting himself, which we love for him to protect his body, but he's also protecting the football, right? Because he's not a guy that carries the ball through contact very much, and so we appreciate that. Those are 2 areas he's grown tremendously. I think also just in terms of running the whole offense, he's only 19 years old. He's only started 9 games or something like that, and or less. And so for him to watching him operate the offense, make the checks, fix the protection, know where to go with the ball, is really, really exceptional. And some people, focus on numbers, focus on stats. Obviously, the stats are really good, but when you watch the whole process, we're just really happy with where he's at.
What have you seen from the relationship? Because you mentioned fix the protections, and a lot of that has to come from the center. How have you seen that relationship between JJ and Oluwatimi, the new center that you guys have, grow and develop, and how's that communication going between the two?
Yeah, well, Olu is extremely valuable for us. Not only a great player, but a great mind. I mean, I think if you look at any good offensive line, you'll see a good center. They're usually the guys that make the whole thing go. And Olu is not only physically talented, but he's really intelligent. He's a really hard worker, knows the whole game plan. And it's huge for JJ as a first-year starter to have that type of guy out there with him who can help him fix some of that stuff and just be a really consistent blocker. But their relationship is great. Olu is a guy that we were just so fortunate to have. I mean, he's a guy that will be playing on Sundays next year. So him and JJ have a great relationship. I think everybody's got a great relationship with Olu. I mean, he was voted an alternate captain after he was here for however many months, so that speaks to itself. But yeah, we're ecstatic about Olu.
A lot of questions that I hear, and questions I have for myself. When you start the game off against Rutgers, and it's play action pass, you hit Ronnie Bell for 35 yards, things are going well, and then I can't remember if it was the same drive or the next drive, Andrell Anthony running down the field, and it's right off the fingertips. We've seen it with Roman Wilson, we've seen it with Ronnie Deep, Cornelius Johnson. What has to happen for that connection, that deep ball, to be a more consistent weapon?
Yeah, so the thing I would say is certainly an area that we got to improve. We got to own that, no doubt about it. But the thing that we see in practice is we see those connections happening, right? So as players, as coaches, we're very confident that it's going to show up in the game. In the game, you just have a limited number of reps, right? We're here talking about one play.
Yeah.
Where Andrell could have made an unbelievable catch and caught it, and he would tell you that. But if you talk to JJ, he would tell you that he threw the ball a little bit with not enough air and a little bit too far up the field. It made it a tough adjustment for him, and he can throw a way better ball, especially for a guy that's wide open. I think for a young quarterback, that's part of the learning process too. Of not every throw has to be right on the money. There's different degrees of how open someone is. Right, where it has to be put right through a small loophole. Right, or one has to be, hey, this guy's wide open, let me just get him the ball. And I know JJ's going to learn from that. And sometimes, you have to make those mistakes in games before they really sink in, and you make that a part of your game. So we're very confident that those connections are going to happen.
There's 3 more games left in the season. Obviously, Nebraska is top of mind right now, and that's the focus. Then you've got Illinois, 2 home games. Then we make that trip down to Columbus. Where do you want to see this offense continue to improve as a whole so that you're playing your best football each and every week that comes up, and each week should be a little bit better?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, that's exactly what we emphasize, and I feel like that's exactly what we've done. Our offense now is light years ahead of what it was, in week 4 or week 5. And to your point, we want to do the same thing in the next 4 weeks, in the next 3 weeks. So, I think it's important that we continue to make our strengths our strengths. We're going to need our run game. We're going to need to take care of the football. Those are 2 things that we've really done well. And then we need an efficient passing game too, which we've done. But we're going to need some of those deep ball connections, right? And so. We're excited. We feel like it's all right there for us. We feel like we can coach everything better. I know the players feel like they can execute better, and we're seeing an improvement every week. And excited for these last 3.
Well, we're hoping that we only ever have to see JJ McCarthy in crunch time, times when it matters. That means he's stayed healthy. It means things are going well. At the end of some of the games, we've seen Davis Warren go in there. How has he been able to work himself up the depth chart, and what does he bring to this offense when he's out there?
Yeah, so we're really fortunate to have, you lose a guy like Cade, and most teams, that'd be it for them. But we have another starter who we obviously feel great about and has a really bright future in JJ. And then beyond that, we have multiple guys who could play, including Davis, including Alan Bowman, who's won games and on the biggest stages before in college football. But specifically to Davis, he's a guy that we're really excited about. He can make every throw. I feel like the hard thing for him coming in here is he hadn't played football for 2 years prior to his arrival, right? So it took him some time to kind of get back in the action. And the best thing we did with him last year was we put him out there for all the scout team reps, and he had David Ajabo, Aiden Hutchinson coming at him with the scout team protecting, right? And if you can complete a ball on that, man, you can complete a ball against anybody. So he actually won Scout Team Player of the Year last year. Got a lot of game-like reps, and then coming to this training camp, we're really focused on, okay, you got to play a lot of football. Now let's really dial in on our offense and what we're doing. And he's a really smart guy. He's in the Ross School of Business. That's another strength for him. And then he's really starting to figure it out. We saw a couple key scrambles from him in the Rutgers game. Got one drive, moved the offense right down the field and scored a touchdown. So we're excited about Davis and his future here too.
Two quick questions at the end. Against Indiana, we saw Alex Orji get in the red zone and get a snap. I know that his strength, at least as we're learning coming in, is his athletic ability, his ability to run the football from that quarterback position. Is that something you're test running to see if he can also be a weapon and utilized this year?
Yeah, so Alex absolutely could be a runner for us this year, be a weapon. He's a guy that probably could play multiple other positions if he wanted to. He's that type of athlete. A lot of people make those Taysom Hill references all the time. They just kind of throw it around. But if you really look at Taysom Hill, the guy's an absolute freak in terms of his speed, his explosiveness, his athleticism. And Alex is in that same category, so I don't make that reference lightly. But that being said, he's a guy that really only played a few years of quarterback prior to coming here. So what we're trying to do with him right now is get him as many throws as possible. Or give him an opportunity to develop as a passer. Because he could throw a ball 70 yards. He might have the furthest long ball of any of the quarterbacks. So there's a lot of ability there. And then the other thing that we love about him is really smart, great leader. He's voted one of the 3 freshmen voted on the leadership council by his teammates. So he has all the intangibles you look for in a quarterback in terms of intelligence, leadership, character. All that stuff is there, plus the athleticism, the ability to run the ball that you referenced. It could be a weapon for us right now if we decided to use that. But we're also giving him an opportunity to develop as a quarterback because he could have a bright future there too.
And then final thing, red zone. Against Michigan State, it was a lot of field goals. Against Rutgers, you had 7 trips, ended up with 6 touchdowns. There was some struggles, punching it in from the 1-yard line. How difficult is it calling plays when the field gets so compact?
Yeah, it's really difficult. It's harder to run because the safeties certainly are closer to the line of scrimmage. It's harder to throw because you don't have the threat of stretching the defense vertically. So both things are harder to do in the red zone. As far as the goal line in Rutgers, we just feel like with our offensive line, with our running backs, you put the ball inside the 1-yard line, man, we got to go straight ahead and punch that thing in. And so maybe we did that a few too many times. Obviously, we have other plays we can call, but eventually the guys got the ball in. So it's all good. And, really happy, obviously, with the improvement there from the Michigan State game.
Well, Matt, thanks for joining me, and best of luck as you guys prepare for Nebraska.
Appreciate it. Thank you.